What's up, y'all? Happy Cancer New Moon. I wanted to come and film a super fast video for the Cancer New Moon. I'm filming this on the day of, but this will still be helpful because these energies kind of play out over 2 weeks with the lunation, right? So I'm super excited because I got some new things and some old things that I'm going to be putting into this video. I did the tarot spread, but I also pulled some cards from the Wild Unknown archetypes, which I haven't used in a couple years. And then I have a new deck that I bought recently, which is the I Ching cards. And so I'm going to put in some information that I pulled from the I Ching, which I'm actually super excited about because I feel like that really adds some practical advice for how you can navigate this time. So we're going to start with the tarot. We'll go into the oracle cards, and then we'll finish with the I Ching. And I'm going to try to keep this within 10 minutes because I don't have a lot of time. So starting with the tarot, I pulled 5 cards, and it's really interesting how they came out because we got 2 on the left side, we got 2 on the right side, and we got 1 in the middle, right? So first 2 cards, we got the Chariot and the 2 of Cups. So I love this. Chariot is the Cancer card, so this is really important with this Cancer new moon when we're planting a new seed for our emotional satisfaction and our emotional truth. The middle card is the Devil in the reverse. This is actually a Capricorn card, so I thought it was interesting this came out because Cancer and Capricorn exist on that same axis where, Cancer is your innermost feelings, and then Capricorn is kind of like these long-term goals that we build towards, right? And then the last 2 cards in the tarot, we got the King of Wands in the reverse and the Three of Cups in the reverse. Cool. So I want to start off with the Devil card because this is the main tension, right? And the Devil kind of speaks to holding on to outdated systems, expectations, beliefs, patterns. They don't serve us anymore, but we hold on to them because they represent a sense of familiarity, right? I usually say that the Devil card is a counterpart card to the Lovers, where the Lovers represent the unfamiliar heaven, and then the Devil will represent the familiar hell. So it's about comfort zone. It's about kind of making the decision to move down a path where you haven't been before. So I like this Devil because it's showing that there are attachments that are ready to be released, and we are aware that we're still holding on to them, but we're kind of more looking at them in the perspective of being ready to maybe step away from this because it's not quite serving. With the Chariot card and the Two of Cups on this left side here, I love this because the Chariot is literally that feeling of progression, right? Of leveling up, moving forward to the next chapter, but it requires an integration, right? Of the externalized kind of ideal self and the internal shadow self, which is usually connected to our deep most emotions or ways that we've been like shamed or hurt, right? When you are trying to move forward on your path with this Chariot card, um, you are being guided by either your light half or your dark half. And if both of those are not getting equal attention, then you're going in opposite directions. And that is what creates the sensation or feeling of being stuck, right? What's so interesting about this pair, though, is that we have this Two of Cups in addition to this Chariot card. So this is showing me that in our lived experience right now, in our 3D reality, there are situations that are reflecting a deep resonance. They're reflecting a deep truth within us that provides a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment that we possibly didn't feel like was able for us, right? Especially with this Devil card in the reverse here. It feels like this kind of energy almost exists outside of the um, limitations or the rules or the structures of this Devil, right? But then on the other side, we have the King of Wands in the reverse and the Three of Cups in the reverse. And the King of Wands energy is about the things that you're passionate about. It's about your authentic creative expression and personal joy. And kings are assertive, so they desire to place themselves as an authority within their suit. The King of Wands and the Three of Cups in the reverse, both of them, like the Three of Cups is going to be having a community or sense of love and nurture and care. But combination with this King of Wands in the reverse, it feels like you have to perform for that. I think that there is awareness of the spaces that we show up in on a regular basis because they are providing a kind of external or socially agreed upon sense of belonging and love and nurture. But since this king is in the reverse, it's like you're showing up for this, but you're not actually being yourself. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of us feel like we don't get this type of camaraderie or care unless we're showing up in the way that these people want us to show up. And if it's not in alignment with something that is authentic with you, then you're just going to get tired. You're going to get burnt out. And I think part of the draw to even be in this space is the kind of established idea of the potential of what you want or what you are trying to grow towards. But realizing that, it almost feels like that connection to the potential or that reward or success remains at a distance. And you've been holding on to trying to achieve that and move forward with that and closer to that within the structures of the devil, and it's just never gotten you there, you know. And then the other issue is that you feel like the second that you don't show up in the way that this wants you to show up, then you no longer have this camaraderie. So I think this is the big tension that we are moving through, where on one side there are things in our reality that really feel like us. They really feel like they resonate with us on a deep emotional level. But we're still holding on to this kind of external validation or need to align ourselves with an established system or legacy of belonging, and then not quite feeling like we can be our full selves. And then because of that, you also never create a sustained sense of belonging, safety, stability, nurture, fulfillment, or even being emotionally like regulated. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, this creates an external safety because you're not straying from the established path, but it doesn't create an internal safety because you're always having to perform for this camaraderie, right? So I want to move into the oracle cards because I think this is speaking perfectly to it. We pulled the mother, which is, of course, once again, a part of that Cancer archetype. And then we pulled the castle. And before I read the passages of this, like these two cards just remind me of the movie Tangled. It's the Disney movie with Rapunzel. And Rapunzel, who kind of lived in this tower, stuck in this tower because Mother Gothel, kidnapped her and put her in there, right? So she thinks that she's being protected, but the truth is that she is being kept and she's being limited and restricted, right? So let's read the passages from the oracle cards. So we're going to start with the mother card, and it says, the mother, the great mother, the feminine, the source. We begin our archetypal story with the mother's love. Through her sensual, fertile, and life giving energy, all creation takes form. Regardless of our birth story, each of our hearts beat for the first time in the warm womb of the mother, where she offered resources from her body for the building of our own. Yet, her tale is not so simple, as the mother, especially on an earthly plane, contains both light and dark aspects of the feminine. With the best of intentions, the mother wraps her loving arms around her creations and begins to grip what she meant to set free. The mother both nurtures and prohibits growth. She gives, yet clings. She creates, yet restricts. Amid this complex energy, the mother holds the key to the eternal challenge of love. So when this is light, it's glowing, it's generative, it's creative, and it's nurturing. When it's dark, it's dim, exhausted, controlling, and limiting. So the first thing that's really coming to me is like that nurturing from our past, from the mother, from the family, or whatever kind of systems or containers or structures promise success and belonging, right? And on one hand, those things are true, but on the other hand, if there's an authentic part of you that doesn't fit within those expectations, you feel trapped, you feel stuck, and you don't actually feel satisfied on a deep level. So that's one of the main things that I want you to question is, whatever beliefs that you're holding on to, is that authentic for you, or is that just the way that you were nurtured? And um, I'm sure that it has helped you grow to where you are now, but isn't now restricting you from expanding into an authentic truth and having an authentic need met. So we're going to read the castle next. It says, the castle, the palace, the penthouse, the fortress. It's no wonder fairy tales tell of sleeping princesses within castle walls. Like most archetypes, the castle is loaded with duality. It represents abundant riches, seductive fantasy, ornate wonders, and lavish adornments. Yet, the walls are thick, cold, and shadowy. This card points to a tendency to hold on to possessions, quite possibly a literal home, or a position that projects the image of achievement, while the soul longs to run barefoot in the forest, leaving it all behind. At times, we must settle down, yet the castle lulls us with its spell of materialism, and we fall asleep to our deepest dreams. The castle can be a motivating force, an enchanting goal to travel toward, but it is best not to linger within its walls of decadent deception for too long. So when it's light, it's visiting your throne of power. When it's dark, it represents stuckness, depression, spells, and walls. So like I was saying, like there is benefits to this castle. There is success. There is material abundance. But what is it worth if you're stuck in this and you never get to step outside of this container and experience something that's a little bit more wild, a little bit more free, and a little bit more real? You know, you never get to experience the opportunity to engage with things that you're not familiar with that may also hold a piece of your truth. So that is so important with this Cancer new moon. Like we're trying to rewire these old narratives and old fears, especially in regards to feeling safe, right? Feeling supported, feeling um, nurtured and fulfilled on a deep emotional level. I want to finish off with the I Ching because the I Ching is going to give us the practical kind of advice and information on what is happening this time. And I love these two passages. So if you're not familiar with the I Ching, you pull two hexagrams, and the first hexagram will represent where our energy stands in the current moment. The second hexagram is going to represent the future. Um, and then what we do is we read the changing lines, and the changing lines kind of zone in or zero in to specific advice to consider within this tension, right? So we're going to start off with hexagram 42. Hold on, let me just make sure that I have the right page. Okay, hexagram 42. It is called increase. This sign means that the creative powers of heaven and earth are unified. Difficult and risky projects can also be attempted now. Take advantage of this phase as it won't last forever. An exceptional force comes into effect from a higher level. It is so subtle that it seizes upon what is important. Trivial and superficial matters are not caught in its net. A healthy blend of inner and detour activity ensures the growth of strong energies. You are not alone on the planet, and you are, therefore, not just here to look after yourself. Take responsibility, increase the good in yourself as well as in others. So I love that this is coming through because it's showing that in our present moment of increase, you know, the heavens and the earthly plane are aligning. And that really feels like this chariot and two of cups energy. Because if you are courageous enough to move towards whatever experiences in your life right now are reflecting that divinity, are reflecting that deep resonance and deep kind of um, emotional desire and connection within you, move towards that. Like it's safe to take risks now, you know, and really align with something that is deeply meaningful for you. And then we're gonna read hexagram 33. It is called retreat. This is gonna be the future if we move through this energy with the advice. So it says, retreat. It isn't your fault if forces repressing the good and increase. Sorry, let me start over. Retreat. It isn't your fault if forces repressing the good increase in influence. This is the natural cycle of all life. Orderly retreat is now a sign of the strong. In such a situation, retreat is not flight, but rather a temporary renunciation in order to make better progress after a creative pause. You can prepare for the upswing in small ways now. Avoid harsh feelings, impatience, and acting out your frustrations on others. If you give into negative emotions, you are also fostering negative energy. Such inner conflicts reveal a disharmony between ideal and reality. Remain calm and confident as it is a passing phase. Okay, so I love this message because it almost feels like counterintuitive to the increase that came before this, but it is showing that if we're aligning with something that's authentic, you know, the kind of trade-off of that is um, kind of losing some of the past resources or relationships or situations that we were holding on to, prior. But at the same time, like, um, it's okay to kind of sit in a reality that's a little bit different than what is expected, because that is going to help fortify your boundaries in regards to really um, valuing and kind of lifting your authentic truth, your authentic expression, your authentic desires, and not feeling like, you have to hold your personal dreams back in order to fit in to a system or, put that to the side in order to kind of reach this external idea of what success is. Success and fulfillment lies within you. It's not without. But if you're always trying to chase that external sense of, validation, you're never going to find what is truly meaningful and truly fulfilling for you. So we're going to finish off with the advice, and this comes from reading the changing lines from the hexagrams. So between these two hexagrams, the changing lines are line 1, 3, and 4. So let's see what those have to say. Okay, so our first changing line is number 1, and it says, use the increase in strength to start a large and important task. You will have great success and find general acclaim as you are pure in intention, honest in word, and direct in action. All right, so for some of us, we are being like called to step into a new space that is a little bit uncomfortable. And we've kind of been holding ourselves back, right? But you can feel this increase in vitality, this increase in creativity and authentic expression. So take that chance, take that risk at this moment, and trust that this deep, authentic, vulnerable part of you um, will resonate with the right spaces, the right individuals, the right audience, and uh, provide success and acclaim for your authentic, creative outlet or creative expression. Let's read line number 3. It says, in times of increase, even otherwise unfortunate influences can bring good. If you find the right view of things, you will recognize good fortune in the bad and again discover a kernel of truth in every untruth. Okay, now that one feels more like this King of Wands reverse, Three of Cups in the reverse energy, right? Because aligning with something that is authentic sometimes requires you to step away from where you've been performing, you know? And on a kind of black and white perspective or way of looking at things, you can kind of see that as bad, right? Because you do want to align with something that feels more authentic, but you have to step away from the space that you have been showing up in currently. And I think since there is an attachment to the rhythm or kind of how much inertia that we've built up in our current kind of expression or way of using our energy, you have a way of kind of conflating that with your identity. And that might not actually be the case. Like you could have been performing a version of self that was made to protect your truth, right? Made to protect like your inner child. And since you've been doing that for so long, you think that that's you, and then really there is an inner child in there that's still desiring to be met and still desiring to have, you know, safety within your external navigation, you know, in the way that you define your life and define what you want for yourself. Your inner child wants to have a seat at the table. So bring that in, and if other things have to go in order for your inner child to be honored, then that's okay. You have a temporary clearing in order to have the space to increase what is authentic and what is true. Last line, we're going to read line number 4. An important mediating role comes your way. Keep in mind the increase in well being of everyone involved. Your suggestions are then accepted even if the verdict is uncomfortable. Okay, now this one is a little bit interesting because it feels more so like a push and pull between like what you want and what other people want, or like what your values are and what other people's values are. And I feel like if there is a way to compromise those two things and try to massage that, you know, maybe you have to sacrifice some of the things that you thought that you needed in order to feel like yourself. And, you know, sometimes the other group has to compromise um, some of their kind of standing in regards to what certain expectations um, they have set in order to have a, I guess, harmonious relationship, right? I think that there could be a positive shift here, and it could be just a shift in dynamic rather than an entire shift in circumstance or situation. So that's the message that I have for the Cancer new moon. I hope that it was meaningful for y'all, and I hope that you can find your story within this. Um, do the social media things. I'm gonna post this on YouTube and I think on Instagram. So like, share, subscribe, comment your experience down below, and then also check out my Ko-Fi page. Where you can donate to me if these are meaningful messages for you, and where you can also follow along for the other collective readings that I post on YouTube. So happy new moon in Cancer. Once again, this is a 2-week period. You know what I mean? All of this isn't happening right now. It's happening during this lunation. So this is your time to align with something that's authentic and to really shift that perspective in regards to what you consider to be the goals of your life or what's meaningful or successful. You know, was that handed down to you? Um, or do you really have a deep, authentic connection to what you personally desire, regardless of what other people want from you? So I'm going to leave it there, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye.